Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be covering a Minnesota Timberwolves offseason preview. We're going to be covering free agency, the draft, some goals for next season. There's a lot to get into with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So if you are new to the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button right now. It's absolutely free to you. And I want you to make sure you're staying up to date on the latest content around the NBA. We're going to be doing a lot more of these offseason previews as we continue to get closer to that point. But looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, this is a team that was fun to watch last season. I think that's pretty clear and obvious for people that don't really follow the team. This was an exciting team. They were 46 and 36 on the year. Chris Finch did a really, really nice job with this team, considering there wasn't a lot of roster change, from season to season here. They definitely took some strides from an in-house perspective, in my opinion. Looking at the first one here, Anthony Edwards' development was absolutely incredible this year. Took another jump into stardom. I know a lot of people are going to be questioning sometimes his efficiency and his shot selection. Definitely a major concern at times. However, when you look at what he's been able to accomplish so far in his career, it's been incredible, especially in his first playoff series. The guy was he was a monster. I think there's really no other way around it. The guy was an absolute stud during the postseason, definitely carried the team on his back when a lot of people thought that should have been Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns is an experienced veteran, a guy that a lot of people love to throw in that superstar category. However, he just did not play like it in the postseason. Anthony Edwards was the guy to keep them in a lot of those games and put them in a really good position down the stretch to really take hold and win some of those games. That very well should have actually been Minnesota's series, in my opinion. They outplayed Memphis in a lot of phases of the game. Fourth quarters were definitely tough for this inexperienced roster and team. So Anthony Edwards' development, once again, continues to take strides forward. Obviously, shot selection is still something that is a work in progress, but I don't think that's going to really change throughout the course of his career. Patrick Beverley's leadership was a big one for me. Looking at what he's done in his career as a glue guy is absolutely incredible. You look at his time with the LA Clippers and now with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Part of the reason why from year to year this team made such a big jump, in my opinion, was because of Patrick Beverley's leadership. He held a lot of players accountable and made sure that they were putting in the work every day. Obviously, Chris Finch had a huge role in this as well in terms of, really making this team better. But Patrick Beverley definitely had his say in terms of, what this team's outlook was going to look like. A lot of people were clowning him, thinking that they were a playoff team. Patrick Beverley believed in his heart that they were going to be a playoff level team, and they proved it this year. And we saw in that playing game against the Clippers, they were terrific. And honestly, that kind of jumped into the next point here. Number one offense since January, something that is incredible. This offense was humming. A lot of players making shots at an efficient clip. And honestly, it was a thing of beauty. This is not something we've been able to watch from Timberwolves basketball for years and years and years, is them being efficient, scoring the basketball at will. And this team was just a lot of fun. You have three stars on this team. You got D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, and obviously Karl-Anthony Towns. But a lot of the role players also played a big part in doing so. Jaden McDaniels was a lot of fun. Jalen Noel had his moments as well. There's a lot of players that don't get enough credit on this roster for what they've been able to do in this, overall turnaround. So I look at the Minnesota Timberwolves as a team that is definitely progressing. They're heading in the right direction. They have a nice incision of youth. I think something that could definitely help out this team is some veteran leadership in that locker room, even further than what they have. But that also leads to Jaden McDaniels, a player that coming out of Washington, a lot of people viewed as a intriguing prospect. They felt he was very raw. But when you look at his overall abilities, when I was scouting him, I definitely felt that this player was going to be different. He wasn't going to be one of those typical guys in the 20s that just flames out. There was a lot to work with, a lot to mold, and he's going to continue to get better. He only shot 31% from three this year. However, he made his impact defensively. He made a really good offensive impact. He was scoring 9 points a game, and obviously in a bigger role, definitely going to pick up the scoring volume and should be a consistent scorer for many years to come. But, once again, he's a young player trying to figure out his role with the team. And Jaden McDaniels definitely flashed that he can continue to progress into a very, very talented player. And kind of looking at some of the key decisions, is D'Angelo Russell actually a part of this long-term future? A lot of people, as soon as the Timberwolves lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, they were going ahead and putting him in the trade machine. People were very excited to move on from the idea that, maybe D'Angelo Russell isn't that third guy with this squad. Obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be staying. Anthony Edwards is going to be staying, but D'Angelo Russell could be the player that you end up seeing making a change. Maybe they end up moving him. Maybe they don't. Josh Okogie, he's a restricted free agent this year. What is his role with the team? Because he kind of fell out of favor in Chris Finch's rotations. So that's something that we have to monitor. Was once viewed as a pivotal piece potentially, and being a guy that could be sent in a lot of trades. Obviously, was under his rookie contract still. People thought he could have been a really nice 3-and-D wing. He just hasn't panned out to be that. Minnesota held on to him, in my opinion, a little bit too long. Is he going to be a consistent rotational player for this team moving forward? I don't really think so. I think this is a guy that very well could be expendable. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do. Obviously with him being a restricted free agent, I'm very curious to see where they want to go. And then a player that doesn't get a lot of notoriety and attention overall is Nathan Knight. Nathan Knight, in the time that we had seen him, made a big impact on, on offense and also defensively. A ton of hustle from him. Very well could be, he had those limited minutes and he was just working his butt off defensively. However, could he really crack that rotation? That's something interesting that we want to be monitoring moving forward. I think that's very well in the cards. From what we had seen, an unknown commodity like Nathan Knight could jump into a rotation and help out a team. And that's, once again, we're going to talk about some of those key needs for this Minnesota Timberwolves roster. Maybe Nathan Knight's a guy that you want to see. Now, looking forward to the draft, what do they have? Well, they got number 19 overall. They also have 48th. This is a very, very deep class. Sheldon has talked numerous amount of times on the channel on the amount of talent that is in this class. So picking 19th overall, not the worst thing in the world, because there's going to probably be some guys that were lottery level talents at 19 that we could have seen in years past in a typical year. But this class is very, very deep. So looking at that, I think they're in a really good position here at 19. There's a couple of key needs, in my opinion, that they have to focus on. Getting a true backup point guard is one that I think should be a priority. A guy that can really control tempo, control pace in that second unit. To me, that's really crucial for this team. Jordan McLaughlin had some really nice flashes throughout the course of the season. I think you can make an upgrade there. McLaughlin is not a guy that you have to say, oh, there's no way we're replacing that. So I think you can really improve in that area. Also, they got to get some more rim protection. I think that was part of the demise of this team, just a lack of rim protection all around. I have a lot of questions about that interior defense of this team. So getting a rim protector could be something that they want to, be looking for. And then once again, they got to find a bench four, a guy on the bench that'll play the four, consistent minutes, guys that are going to be able to score the basketball a little bit and not just be, some floaters, right? Not guys that are just going to kind of stand around, move the ball a little bit. Maybe they look for a score. Maybe they look for a more defensive minded four. I'm not exactly sure what the plan would be for that, but I think that's something that's worth looking into. Now, looking at some of the draft targets, Kennedy Chandler from Tennessee, Ty Washington from Kentucky, and Christian Koloko from Arizona. Some of those guys that I'm definitely thinking you want to be looking at. Koloko is a guy that of all the rim protectors, he's kind of the forgotten man here, but we have to remember how great he is defensively. He's not as polished as some of the other rim protectors in this class. However, that is a name that we definitely need to be watching for. So I like that for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have to make sure that they are protecting the rim. And honestly, Koloko could be a really nice fit at 19. Maybe they even trade down a little bit. Who knows what the plan would be for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But Ty Washington and Kennedy Chandler, I could see being great second unit point guards. Really depends on what happens with D'Lo too. Is Jalen Noel just going to be your two then off the bench? I think that's probably more the plan of action, but you get some playmakers and guys like Ty Washington. I'm totally sold on that idea. and being able to utilize that 19th overall pick on a consistent bench player that can facilitate the ball, to me, is what you want to be striving for. Now, looking at some of the free agent targets, this is not going to necessarily jump off the screen, but considering where they sit at from a money perspective, way over the cap at this point. Svi Mykhailiuk from Toronto's got a player option. Very well could convince him to come for a little cheaper, a little more of a reduced cost. These are cost-effective guys, so let's keep that in mind. Hassan Whiteside from the Jazz is obviously a shell of himself from where he used to be with Miami Heat, but definitely can still protect the rim at an okay rate. Not a player that I would be super, super pumped about signing. However, I think this is a very realistic option. Jalen Smith fell out of the graces of the Phoenix Suns, ends up catching on with the Pacers, has a pretty nice season. And then all of a sudden now he's kind of regarnering some interest around the league. So Jalen Smith's the name that we need to be watching. And I also stick with the Pacers here. TJ Warren, the bubble star guy that was absolutely lighting it up. I think that's somebody you want to consider here. Definitely can score the basketball when he's on, for sure. But looking at him, I think you're kind of looking then as a guy off the bench that can be a consistent scorer, a go-to guy. Him and Malik Beasley off the bench together could be kind of interesting. It really depends on what way they want to go. But TJ Warren, in my opinion, could make a lot of sense for this team. Obviously, Taurean Prince might not be around either. So we're going to have to see how that free agency period plays out. And then now kind of looking at next season, what are some of the goals for this team? In my opinion, you want to make it out of the first round. I think we have to kind of set our sights a little realistically with this team. I'm not expecting them to make it to the NBA Finals or even the Western Conference Finals, but making that jump with the roster they have would be very, very impressive. Now, I felt they could have even done it this year. A little bit of that inexperience showed, and that gets to my next point. Karl-Anthony Towns has to be that go-to guy in the playoffs. There's been a lot of big men throughout the course of NBA playoff history that can take over, and Karl-Anthony Towns needs to display that. In my opinion, he's got to make a postseason jump. He's got to be a go-to guy when it comes to the postseason. Now, he definitely showed a little bit of flashes of that, but with how he started off the series against Memphis, I definitely had my questions about him being a true postseason guy. So hopefully next year he can come back. And honestly, they got to get him the rock in that postseason and make teams pay. So we'll have to see how Chris Finch kind of utilizes him next year. And then Jaden McDaniels, another guy I'm going to highlight once again. He's got to ascend in this team, considering he's 6'9", 6'10", a guy that could, obviously handle the rock a little bit, score the basketball, be a nice wing defender. There's so much to love about what you can mold him into. So if you add him as a kind of a tertiary piece, he could be a terrific role player for you. And honestly, there's a lot to love about where this team is at right now. I think it's very realistic to say that they could make it out of the first round next year, potentially. It all depends. Is D'Angelo Russell going to be around? Can Karl-Anthony Towns make a postseason jump? And is Anthony Edwards going to continue on the trajectory of stardom that we think he can potentially reach? So that's a lot to cover with this Minnesota Timberwolves team. Let me know in the comment section below some of the free agent targets, some of the draft targets that you would like to see this team make. I appreciate all the support. Thanks again for stopping by, and we will catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.